Hey guys, Artosis here, bringing you some more CasterMuse Narak StarLeague. We are in the round of 16, and right now we are in the losers match. This is going to be a best of 3 between one of our last Protosses left here in Motive, and in the bottom right we have Ample. Our first map is going to be Butter, a 2-player map, so we'll probably see some fireworks very quickly in this game. But yeah, this is this is going to eliminate someone. And it's a little bit sad, right? Like, we definitely want to see a Protoss end up advancing from this group, because otherwise that round of 8 is going to be pretty Terran and Zerg dominated. But, you know, it's still early in the tournament. We'll see. Hopefully Motive, though, can put up some strong play here against Ample. I think that this is honestly an even match between these two, if I had to say so. I think that more recently, Motive has been doing a bit better. He's been on my radar a bit more than Ample, whereas Ample hasn't had really great results since, gosh, it's been a few years. Really, the last tournament he did really, like, last like what do you call it, like the S-class tournament or something that he did really well in, I believe, was KSL, and that's been canceled for a few years, right? So it's been a bit since he's had a result like that. We'll see what he can put out here. He does go ahead and throw that barracks down, and let's see if Motive actually ends up stealing the gas or not. I think he is going to. It's like kind of weird when you don't steal the gas. It feels like you really should, and he is doing some harass. That is some great counter SCV micro, though. Motive a little bit off on his probe, already taking some significant damage. Gonna go ahead and continue to harass this SCV. Some interesting building placement. Ample, you can always tell it's him because he always puts his depot, like most people put the depot here, and it makes the SCV pop closer to the minerals, right? So that's just, it's this little trick you always use as Terran with your first depot. Almost everyone in the world does it at a high level. He puts his a little bit to the left, and it's just this stylistic thing, and at the end of the day, it's really whatever works best for you. A tiny optimization like this being to the right, one hex, is not going to make a big difference. Now, in the meantime, Ample did a very fast scout. This is a really good idea on 2-player maps, is to scout on like 10 supply or so against Protoss, because so often what they do, like the best build right now for a 2-player map is you go for a gateway, you make Zealots, and you go ahead and throw it. Well, you don't have to go for the gateway. Let me explain the full idea. You steal gas and you go for a very fast nexus. Okay, that's kind of the idea. You can do it with Zealot or without Zealot. In my opinion, actually, it's stronger without the Zealot, but the Zealot's fine as well. So that's what he did. He rushed up here and threw down the engineering bay, and that really slowed down Motive getting his nexus when he wanted it. So I think that that is an absolutely fantastic play to do that. That's something I utilize a lot. A lot of pros have started to utilize that a lot as well. But here we are. He's trying to clear that gas. You got to be careful because the probe's in here. If you clear the gas and the probe is near it, he will re-steal, and it will take a long time to re-clear. So Ample gets rid of that gas. This is actually crucially important that you kill off the gas before you take the natural. Very important in this situation when there's already a gateway out, because otherwise their Dragoons are going to be too fast. Now, this is terrible for Ample. Terrible for Ample. Motive gets his Zealots on top of those Marines. A couple go down. He ends up killing the probe, which is nice, but loses another SCV. Obviously, 3 Marines, one of which is damaged, cannot come even close to killing these Zealots. In fact, one can maybe turn and do a huge amount of damage here. Some great micro from Ample, but as the second one comes in, like, look, the Zealots are shredding right now. They're doing a fantastic job. And my God, that is a lot of Marine death. A lot of Marines have fallen. The factory can be started pretty quickly here. Let's take a look back at Motive's base. So he has a second gate. There's the Cybernetics core, and his Nexus is almost done as the command center finishes. So this was not super optimal by Ample. The Zealots definitely slowed him down a lot. He had to overmake Marines here, and that type of stuff definitely can cost you, right? Like, one of the big measures of where you are in the game in Terran versus Protoss is command center time versus Nexus time. So much of the game at higher levels, the flow is so often dictated off of how close those two timings are. Right, but when the Nexus is basically finishing as the command center is starting, you are falling behind quite a bit. Like, we have constant SCV production, but we have 2 probes at a time. So you're going to see this probe number get pretty far apart, right? It's like let's see, 75 seconds at 13 seconds per worker. That's a lot of extra workers that you're going to end up getting. It's like 6? Yeah, approximately 6 extra workers you're going to end up popping out of your Nexus. Forgive me if my math is just slightly off, trying to do it on the fly while commentating. Anyways, we have the robotics coming up. Very solid play here from Motive. This looks like a build where basically you can't die to anything. You're making a lot of Dragoons. Probably into Observer first is my guess, but I really wouldn't mind him going directly into Reaver. If your opponent was like going to go for multiple barracks, or you had some sneaking suspicion that he was, the Reaver would be a lot better. In this case, we see Ample once again doing a 3-factory build. Now, this is a little bit different. It could turn into a quick attack, like I believe that we saw against YSC on Vermeer, right, in the previous round of this group. Now, that one didn't end up working, but it was very cool to see. This 3-factory, like, it's kind of like a gasless expand that you're doing in a way. So, like, he has to pressure with it because you're spending money on the extra factory rather than an armory. But let's see if he can actually do anything, right? Looking back at the main base here of Motive, he has the shuttle coming up. He has the observatory coming up. And the fact that he's making a shuttle shows us that he is going to go Reaver. And the 3rd Nexus. Okay, so if there was ever a time where this might end up working, there's not that many gateway units. The Zealots are scouting the sides. There's 3 Dragoons here. Dragoon range is not done yet, so no real pressure on that bunker. He's trying to, like, kind of pretend like he might put on pressure. That's what that move was. He was also kind of checking what was out in front there. Right now, Ample just clearing this egg, so it's a little bit cleaner as he rallies out. You don't want things getting stuck behind the egg. Sometimes the eggs actually do mess up AI. SCVs can get stuck, or things bump into it and turn around. But anyways, we have the Observer about to pop, and then we're going to have the Reaver. And here we go with Ample. The Reaver is not ready. He should be able to get up to at least here before the Reaver, and that's going to give him a lot of room to play with. Now, if you micro really, really well here as Terran, you can basically minimize damage from the Reaver. That's going to be absolutely key. Now, the Vultures go up around. Speed is almost done. They do have mines. That's a lot of Dragoons. That's a lot of Dragoons. 6 Dragoons, 7 Dragoons, and 2 Zealots here. So he's going to reduce the size of this army a bit. The Zealots take a little bit of that tanking. Oh, those mines were beautifully laid. But good targeting there. Oh, my God. He takes down so many of the mines. And he is going to back up. And it's going to take a little bit to get through there. Like, the tanks are doing a great job. Vultures are still rallying up. Don't forget, this is 3-factory, not 2. Oh, that was a good mine drag. Actually, the tanks take some additional damage there. But that means a lot more Vultures coming up. Now, here is the Reaver. Reaver outranges tanks without siege mode. Good pullback. Good pullback. You take reduced damage when you pull back. Oh, my God. The mine actually hits the Reaver. Kind of a big deal there. And as the Reaver is out, we do have a full backup here from Ample up to the high ground, a much more defendable location. He has these Vultures trying to get in, but obviously the pylon wall, the eternal enemy of Vultures. It takes so long to kill a pylon. They deal such poor damage to actual structures. Obviously full to shields, but it takes a long, long, long time to get through 300 health. So the Vulture's going to back up. He's still out on the map. Now, this is where it's getting very dangerous for Ample. There is definitely an opportunity for a lot of damage here. He's already taken the shields off of one of the pylons. So the tanks could, in theory, run up and maybe power down a pylon, run in with probes, run in with the Vultures and kill a bunch of probes, something like that. We'll see if he goes after that. In the meantime, Motive actually, I think, is a little bit confused. I don't think he knows that these tanks are here. So the tanks are going to get up into position to take this down. He starts a turret for anti-Reaver. More Vultures coming. What a move! And everything turning around right now for Motive. Motive has to hold on here. The probe's going to run out, but can we actually... Oh, my God. Ooh, okay, he gets one very good Scarab. That is quite a red siege, or quite a red Reaver. I think he might end up killing the Nexus. There is a possibility. I want to see these tanks rotated to here, right? Like, he doesn't have to worry about the Reaver so much, but there's not many mines here. I feel like the Dragoons could run up and theoretically kill the tanks before the Nexus dies. Let's see if Motive is able to do it. He waited for the Observer. Here we go. There's only a single mine in his path. He's got to get down there. No, this is going to fall. So there is the third base Nexus snipe. And in fact, the Reaver going to end up dying, and the shuttle takes a lot of damage. Oh, it doesn't die. 1 health. 1 health, and probably 1 health as well. That's insane. 2 1 health Reavers. Incredibly annoying. In the meantime, look at this. The Vultures rotate over, kill off the probe here from Motive. So Motive does not get his third base as quickly as he wants. He was just going to expand to the other side. And bam, there you have it. That was the early game. A much better 3-factory rush opener there from Ample. Now, taking a look in the main base. Look at this. It is a... I'm getting chills right now. This is a carrier follow-up, and I want to talk deeply about this, and I'm going to show you why. Let's look down here. The Academy just started, and a lot of Terrans would even consider not getting this Academy yet, but sometimes when you're microing, you bank up lots of minerals so you can afford something like that. But oftentimes, after a rush like this, you focus really heavily on macro, which leans itself towards turrets. Right? You're not looking for the finesse of a scan figuring out exactness for you, because you're like, okay, I did damage. Let's macro up heavily, because that's kind of the next stage. So he is getting the scanners, which means he should be able to figure out that this is quick carriers. But in a world where he doesn't get this Academy quickly, this follow-up is amazing. Anytime that you think that they might not get that, this can be very, very, very strong. And especially after early aggression builds from Terran. Because anytime you see an early aggression build from Terran, that means no armory, right? The armory very, very late. So, like, take a look here, right? This is +1 attack on the way. They have no upgrades as of yet, so there's not like a starport, there's not a science facility. In a regular game, like if you were playing upgrade Terran as opposed to timing Terran that we're seeing here from Ample, you would have 2-1 about this far along, right? Like your 2-1 would be finishing very, very soon, if not already. And 2-1 upgrades really counter carriers pretty well. Goliaths with +2 attack take 1 less volley to kill interceptors, which is a break point. That's what we call it in this, right? A break point where it's like, okay, this is a huge difference in how the engagement goes. But as is, the carriers are going to be out. 2-1 is going to be quite a ways off. He is getting his Goliath range. We see the starport starting. Another factory. I think he's going to want to jump up to as many factories as possible. We see him going up right now into 7. We'll see if he goes higher than that. I don't think that there's really an opportunity for Ample to get a 4th command center right now. Oh my god, oh my god. Look at this, the 2 shuttles going in, and he loses the double Reaver shuttle. Oh, dude, oh my god. Only Zealots getting out. The Goliath's going to help clean that up. 1 does run into a mine, but this is not much damage. If the Reavers had gotten out, this could have been kind of crazy, but that was like a completely blind move from Motive. He wanted to get in there. He wanted to slow him down, deal some damage, but plenty of turrets there from Ample. So Ample suddenly... like, I mean, clearing out those shuttles, that makes it so that you're not really worried about counterattacks so much. He's macroing pretty well. He has 3 gases, a lot of good things going on. 61 SCVs, that's healthy. He's going up to 8, 9 factories. That's kind of what I was hoping to see from him. Because right now, it's all about getting your supply count up. So, some solid defense here from Ample. But as you can see, Motive is almost maxed out. He's got 81 probes, which is... that's really the top end of what you kind of ever want. Wow. He's juicing those goons. All right. Kills quite a few right there. And so let's take a look at what the army actually looks like, right? Slow Zealots still. He should be getting the legs upgrade pretty soon. Mostly Dragoons. Has another Reaver. I don't think it's going to work too well. Pops that shuttle immediately. You're not going to worry about 1 Reaver at these supplies. Unless it snows. And like right now, he's doing a great job pushing. There's a lot more supply, but don't forget, 20 of that is in workers. Motive, he's got a huge economy going on the 4 bases. Like, that's fantastic. He's got a true 4-base economy with the 81 workers, but he is going to run out of minerals in his main and then his natural. And like, if he's not taking more bases, that 81 probe's not going to pay off nearly as much. But here we go. Ample continuing to go forward. He's just going to want to macro as quickly as possible off of these factories and reinforce. His army definitely has potential. We don't have legs yet. This is so big. There is the Citadel, but he hasn't started legs. Like, that is one of the most important things. Once your carriers are out, you need to get legs, and then a little bit after that, you need to go for Psystorm. But he's keeping on the Reavers instead, which is not going to be as helpful. So right now, ooh, that is a lot of carriers, though. 6 carriers and not that many Goliaths. We have 8 Goliaths here. Absolutely not enough. Against 6 carriers, you need something like 20 Goliaths to sustain, and he simply doesn't have that. So in comes the attack. More Goliaths are coming up very quickly here, but the carriers, I think, are going to be able to squash everything. He should actually pull back the Dragoons, in my opinion. They're not, like, it feels like he's just letting the tanks get the kills, where the carriers could have probably cleared everything. But you know what? If you kill the whole Terran army, no harm, no foul. And it looks like he should be able to just about do that. Only 3 siege tanks remain. He does back up as more and more Goliaths come. Turrets being built. Ample just holding on to this position right now. Going for a carrier kill. He stutter steps forward there and doesn't get it. Very low health carrier. 2 volleys from death right now. Tanks moving forward, trying to push everything back, but as these very slow Zealots walk out, they are hard to kill. He doesn't have enough damage output. Looks like he should get this carrier finally. So picks that one off, but every siege tank from the initial attack is now dead. All the Goliaths are going to go down. The missile turrets, not going to be able to do too much here. Pure Goliath walking up, a single Vulture. Man, is he even making tanks? Okay, he is making tanks. He is getting a 4th base. The 4th base has finished. No SCVs at it as of yet. But I'm getting a bit nervous because his unit composition here is not good. It is not good. Like, you actually need siege tanks with your army. Goliaths do not do a great job fighting against Dragoons or Zealots. Yeah, they do fine against carriers, but even his number is not high enough. Like, 7 carriers here. Seriously, again, you need like 20 Goliaths to deal with that. Like 20 will shut it down for sure. 12, if you stutter step micro away consistently, is going to do pretty well. But the general rule is, like, once they have 4, you need a whole group of Goliaths. And when they start getting above that, you need a hell of a lot of Goliaths. That is the technical amount. So let's see if Ample can field that many here. He is mining his gas very well. Wow, the carriers get caught completely in the middle. I don't know why he had those carriers there. Like, he just flew them right through the middle of the map. No ground support near them. So these Goliaths walk up. They get 2 carrier kills. 2, down to 5 carriers. This is becoming more doable by the second here. His siege tank count is actually sufficient to defend against these Dragoons. He does want to build that a little bit, though. A good rule of thumb in Terran versus Protoss, when you're playing against carrier, you want 12 tanks. You still want to make sure you have Vultures in there because you need those to lay mines. You need those to help deal with Zealots. And you need those for sometimes sniping, like High Templars on the sides and things like that. Maybe counterattacking. And the rest in Goliaths. So we definitely want to see him try to get to that. In the meantime, the carriers come over to his 3rd base location. This is kind of a hard one to defend because you have to walk up a ramp, which you can see he's really abusing that right now, dealing quite a bit of damage, picking off these missile turrets super quickly, being very efficient with those carriers. Look at that, 8 carriers right now. And I mean, another base is coming up. We saw that over here. He did run out of minerals in the main and the natural, like I mentioned. His probe saturation was super high, so those were definitely going to go down quickly. Even Ample is out here, not at his natural yet, though. So he's still got good mining going on, but the amount of carriers is becoming almost too much. One way I like to think about carriers as you get later into the game like this is almost like flying economy, because carriers are basically more cost efficient than anything. Like, maybe there's a situation where the defilers can be like insanely cost efficient because, you know, they bring everything to 1 health and like make your stuff invincible. But like, carriers in general are the best scaling thing in this game. The more you get, the more ridiculous they become. And like, he is just gaining value over and over. As long as they stay on the side, they're incredibly hard to kill. And as you see, he's not really losing anything. You fly in, you're killing off missile turrets. The missile turrets are only there to slow you so the Goliaths can come over to save the command center. And look, he's going to start targeting it. And I mean, that's hard. You got to repair that really heavily to keep it alive. A few Goliaths going up for that flank, but not quite enough. The command center gets saved. Some good micro from Ample, bringing these Goliaths back to the side. But yeah, as you can see, 8 carriers, no damage dealt to them during that battle whatsoever, and they just fly away. More carriers joining in. Looks like we're on like 10 carriers now. This is the point where it just gets so overwhelming. You need a gigantic economy to deal with that. And it's a big economy for Terran right now. He definitely has a lot, but there's no real way to box the carriers in. That's one of the big problems here. Now that Psystorms are coming out, those Goliaths are going to get stormed as if they were Hydralisks. You know, it's going to add so much damage to this. So really the full composition coming out. Look at this. 2 on the ground, 4 in a shuttle. There's no way Motive doesn't win this game. Like, even though Ample has a good amount, he's got these 2-1 upgrades that are fantastic. 3-2 on the way. Like, there's, again, no way to trap the carriers. Especially on a map like this. I'm going to... Well, let's see if he actually gets his command center first. Man, so much efficiency. He even dropped the High Templars down. He's storming these Goliaths on the ramp. Just absolutely gross amount of efficiency here from Motive. And he is going to kill everything, man. Like, maybe you get rid of these because you kill so many interceptors, he has to fly away. But the High Templars are dealing an incredible amount of damage. A couple more storms are left, and he's even making Archons out of what's left here, which will tank Goliath damage as well. But yeah, the carriers absolutely look like they're going to be able to take this down. And, I mean, good play from Ample. I think he did a much better job with the 3-fact. He found that important damage, but was unable to really do anything against these carriers. It's really hard on these maps that have multiple lanes that you can't go between, like this lane and this lane. These lanes up here are like more workable, like you can kind of chase carriers around this area, but they can always fly to this side. So almost every carrier game on Butter ends up with killing this base and then starting to hit here, with the Protoss expanding to the right and the Terran killing the left. Like, I mean, we see this right now, but I promise you, Butter TVP, when it gets to carriers, this is what it looks like. And like, yeah, he's killing some Nexuses and stuff, but it doesn't matter because the carriers can get over to this side much quicker than the Goliaths that have to walk all this way, right? You just fly over all of this terrain. And I mean, we're going to be seeing GG in a minute here, I think. It's 121 supply. Okay, 30 more probes, so you can consider this 160, but again, the carrier count, he's at 11 here. And yeah, it's it's kind of insane. Couple Psystorms go down on the remaining Goliaths as the carriers are going to clean up everything. He barely saves this Nexus at about 1 tank hit from death. Saves this one at about 4 from death. And now the mass DTs start to come out. This is a very common late game thing as well. Just all the AI is getting so screwed up at this point. You're starting to lose comm stats. It's hard to keep track of everything. The DTs deal so much damage. As you can see, they just clear this out. And Ample is at the end of the road, man. He's got no money. He's got no supply. The carrier's too strong here. And the DT's going to help shut down the very last of his units. Goliath's trying to pick off what they can. And yeah, they get like 2 carriers there. Does that matter very much? I mean, Motive's got a lot of money in bank. He's going to reinforce with whatever it is that he really likes at this point. And with his roaming DT gang, gonna end up clearing out a whole bunch of this. Look at this. Oh, man, he almost gets this, too. Not quite. The DT's DPS a bit too high. 27 health left there. And honestly, even if he kills that, it doesn't make much difference here for Motive, since these carriers can just do things like hang out over here, you know, harass this base. It's kind of funny watching how brave he is with the carriers, too. Just like flying over open ground where the Goliaths have potential to kill him. But that's it. Game number 1 goes to Motive. On to game 2.